In the previous video, we tackled the Silencer Purgatory that was Clutterfunk. Now, I present you all a new theory. A theory of minimum. How difficult could it possibly be? Yeah, that's about right. I feel paralyzed. We begin by input carrying until the first jump orb, and continue on as normal until this blue jump orb. Ensure that you begin holding late, so that you bounce off this pink jump orb on the top right corner. Provided that you also space out your timing so that you hold off this yellow jump orb late, you can make it into the ship section with 10 inputs. Continue following the coin trail as normal until you transition back into the icon. This next timing is interesting, as you need to jump off this platform at a very specific point so that you bounce and begin holding off the top right corner of this jump orb. This allows you to gain the distance you need to land on this pink jump pad, allowing you to carry this input further until you jump off this block. Jumping too early causes you to jump off the solid ground instead. Jumping normally actually gives you more height than bouncing off pink jump pads, causing you to crash into the spikes above in this instance. Landing on the pink pad is needed to ensure that you avoid crashing here. Tap the orbs and begin holding as late as you can off this blue jump orb so that you gain as much distance as you can to clear this spike. Once you fall into a mini icon section, wait for a brief moment upon landing and begin holding again. If timed right, you can oh so satisfyingly jump over all of these spikes. Now, at long last, this theory brings forth a brand new out-of-this-world phenomenon, the UFO. This game mode will present us with some problems since the only way we can gain vertical height is through a series of inputs. However, we do have more control than the ball in the fact that we aren't required to tap to cause a significant change in positioning. Essentially, we can space out our tap inputs so that we gain as much horizontal distance with the lowest number of inputs possible. We start by sliding along the ground here. We'll need to tap twice to make it up to this platform, and an additional 4 inputs are needed to make it to this middle corridor. When you fall, tap and hold, and continue following the mini coin paths as normal until you reach the ball. At 46%, you can save 2 inputs by just allowing yourself to roll off the platform here and tap this blue jump orb directly. At 52%, you can save another 2 inputs by just rolling off this platform as well. You'll change gravity and transition into the mini ship as normal. Perform some swooping maneuvers as shown by the coin paths. For this last swoop, you'll need to time your input just right so that you transition into the icon at the highest possible point without crashing into the ceiling. By doing so, you can continue to hold, jump off this platform, and have barely enough distance to be in the range of this blue orb's hitbox. This is an insanely tricky timing to pull off, as most of your attempts won't give you the distance you'll need, causing you to crash into the spike pit below. This is why I encourage you all to preemptively input every single time so that you're guaranteed to change gravity if you come in contact with its hitbox at any possible point. Trust me, you're going to need a lot of practice for this input. Actually executing it even in practice mode posed many problems to me as I could not clear this consistently in practice mode. So once again, I emphasize, practice this timing especially. I'd actually argue that this is the most difficult input in the entire level, even more so than what's to come. Anyways, as you ascend into the next UFO section, you should have 54 inputs. Continue following the tap input paths as shown, and you'll eventually become shrunk and mirrored. I especially emphasize following the mini coin paths for congested areas like these, as the minimum number of inputs required here just barely allows you to clip onto this platform. Allow yourself to fall to the bottom corridor with 74 inputs in tow. When you mirror back into the icon, you'll follow the path with decent precision until you suddenly don't anymore. Yeah, you saw that correctly. This theory presents a huge game-changing exploit. By timing your 2 inputs at 86% and holding at the last orb, you can actually jump off this platform at a very specific point that allows you to perfectly squeeze through these saw blades and land on solid ground all the way to the bottom of the level. This unintended secret way carries us all the way to the end of the level with 80 inputs in tow. But wait, if you remember what I mentioned in my first video in this series, I emphasized the importance of verifying that exploits like these are legitimate in that we can complete them in the main game, so let's check that out now. And there we go. I can safely conclude that this exploit is possible to execute in the main level, and therefore allows us to use this exploit in this challenge. With 80 inputs added into the global input counter, this brings our input total to a spectacular 752. Here's a funny story about that secret way. When I was planning my route and discovered this for the first time, I was told by people who are assisting me with this project that this method was not possible since RobTop patched it in a previous update. So with that in mind, whenever 2.2 comes out, and it will release one day, I'm an optimist for a reason after all, we'll come back to this secret way, what the upcoming new level, or levels, have to offer in a special bonus episode. In summary, we're starting to see the seeds of a trend be implanted regarding difficult, pixel-perfect timings that, in my very, very inexperienced opinion, parallels that of insane and/or extreme demons. It's timings like these, though, that help us minimize our input usage that much more. Our input total is currently much lower than I could have ever anticipated. At this rate, we'll be well on our way to stay below 2k and now even 1.9k inputs in total. And that concludes the first part of this theory. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and the series so far. I hope to see you all in the next one. Until then, stay safe and peace out.